You know, ever since 2016 rolled around into the era of memes and walls being built and into 2017, I've always wanted to do a series of videos talking about Dragon Ball Super. But I never knew what I'd do, so I figured, to kick things off, I'd do a Retrospect series, since it's very close to the end of Super. And what better thing to start off this wonderful cacophony of shit and sunshine than to put into retrospect the overall problems that I have with two characters that are like taking Mod Podge, your diarrhea, and expired Pepto-Bismol, and blending it together in a milkshake that'll leave you dying for a breath mint. Among other things. I'm going to be talking about Broly and Goku. Which actually means I'm talking about Kale and Caulifla.
No, God! No, God, please, no! No! No!
So in the years that I've been watching and paying attention to Dragon Ball, ranging from the anime, manga, games, and even the cringiest of cosplays, I've seen some shit that's divided communities before. Whether it be Dragon Ball and its garbage power scaling, the debates on where movies take place in any kind of timeline, or just cancer-like power scaling debates in general, but what I haven't seen until Super rolled around was the utter madness that spawned from Kale and Caulifla's introduction and story in Dragon Ball Super and the Tournament of Power. Now I have made videos talking about this a little bit before, but those were unstructured. Too Long Didn't Read, I said that Kale is shit because she's a shameless ripoff of Broly in a similar fashion how Marvel just slapped on Iron Man's shit onto a black chick, and that Caulifla was kind of hot, but also kind of a ripoff of Goku, personality-wise. But to really elaborate on that, let's look back at things. Now I will say that I do enjoy Super. Dragon Ball in general has never been something that I would say has a story that I would say makes someone's taste superior, because it's kind of shit for anything other than comedy. But if you look at Super and these two strong independent women's, there's a lot of issues that just seem downright disrespectful to the series in general. Initially, Kale and Caulifla weren't even going to be in Super. Toriyama initially just didn't include them, and I think that would have been a good thing. Toei was the one who decided to include them. The big fuck-up that makes the shit-infested ingredients in this shit sandwich become noticeable is when we first see Caulifla become a Super Saiyan in episode 92. Mistake number 1 was obviously giving Universe 6 such a stupid reason for transforming. But that's a mistake I could overlook, if it was just that. But it's worse. Because not only 20 episodes later do we see Kaba going Super Saiyan 2, but only after getting his ass kicked and having to get super mad. Sounds more like Kaba is an illegal immigrant who crossed the border wall of Universe 7 and went to Universe 6, because that doesn't seem like the excuse they gave to Kale and Caulifla with the whole tingly back feeling. Like, what happened? Do Kale and Caulifla go Super Saiyan because going Super Saiyan for females requires the ghost that Beerus killed to come back and give them really bad touches, and he doesn't touch little boys in spandex? Freezy Pop be damned if you think he's gonna let you get away without enacting equal rights to bad touches. Virginia stopped being his favorite when he stopped hanging around little boys in spandex. But in all seriousness, it doesn't make sense that Kaba would have to do it like Universe 7. The only way it would make sense is if a bunch of weebs would treat it like misogyny to see women have to work equally as hard for something that majority of Saiyan men in Dragon Ball had to work for. Yet people let them get away with what male characters never get away with, which is being uncreative and just downright coddled. I mean, Goten and Trunks aside, Goku, Gohan, Future Trunks, and Vegeta all had some shit to deal with when they transformed. Goku had to get Zenkai boosts, requiring him to almost die, and then see his best friend die. Future Trunks had to live in a never-ending apocalypse and see his best friend and fatherly role model die. Vegeta had to destroy his pride in his body. And Gohan's dad had to practically try to kill him, and put him through a spiritual revelation that he's actually been pretty much useless most of the time. But we saw how that turned out, right, Captain Tracksuit?
He's dead.
Then there's the overall issues I have with Kale. If you wanted to have Broly's popularity, you should have just had Broly. It makes no fucking sense that you would create a female version of Broly and only bother to change the story to where she's a schizophrenic chick who's obsessed with another chick. But Kaiser, her story is that she feels inadequate because she felt that nobody had any faith in her. Well, boo-hoo. Gohan felt that way too. He felt fucking useless. But he didn't just feel a little sad and transform. He went through hell, having his dad launch a fucking deadly Kamehameha at him in an effort for him to stop being useless. Useless. It's bad enough that they did the most uncreative Marvel-esque thing and just change a male character's gender and ran on the male character's popularity to get her places. But then you have her ripping off scene for scene from the Broly movie. Broly wasn't even that good of a character, so it baffles me as to how you can be so retardedly desperate as to rip off an already badly written character. I mean, don't get me wrong, Broly was fun and all, but his story was probably almost as badly written as the story of the life of Chris-chan and his Sonichu comics. So why rip his shit off like a band-aid stuck on too tight? How many times do you have to say Son Goku before you stop? Even Broly knew when to stop, and usually he didn't just say Kakarot over and over again. If there's one thing that's certain, it's that Broly would only say Kakarot when he was either looking for Kakarot or found someone who looked like him. Or found Kakarot. He could actually respond with more than just Kakarot and the word kill. Does anyone actually remember his response to Vegeta claiming to be the ruler of all Saiyans?
Then please try your best to make me kneel before you.
It's even worse when you realize that Broly's not really a berserker. The fact that they tried to name Broly's transformation and slap it onto Kale is one thing, but to name it so inaccurately, that really ruffles my orange kung fu jimmies. If Broly being able to talk normally and actually have sound reasonable speaking skills means he's still a berserker, then I guess with a buff body and lots of power, then we should definitely sign up Broly to play the role of the next berserker in whatever fate Type Moon comes up with next.
A man can always dream.
So in all retrospect, were they shit characters? Yes. They were probably the worst thing Dragon Ball has ever come up with. Ranging from the female-only excuse for transforming into a Super Saiyan like it was just second nature, including Caulifla easily going Super Saiyan 2, then losing it, and then reacquiring it later like it was never lost, all the way to Kale's uncreative origins and entire fucking character. We were given something that, to any normal, sane person who isn't an internet white knight or a weeaboo, would be considered the biggest pile of fucking shit this side of Marvel's America Chavez. Now, this isn't to detract from Super as a whole. Only people desperate enough to defend these two cum dumpsters would argue that hating them means you hate all of Dragon Ball. There are people who hate TN for fuck's sake, if you believe Plague of Gripes. But they still watch Dragon Ball. Like I do. And you know what? I probably still will, and probably masturbate to Caulifla as well. 'Cause at least she's not ugly, looks-wise per se.